What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode. This is Trading TOTY Media Hybrid episode 25. And as you see, a player that we put up in a previous episode, Steven Gerrard, converted to centre mid in a 4-3-2-1 formation. Sold for 17,000 coins. A really good player to trade with. Commands a really good price. His price has risen rapidly since the inform, and he's a really tidy player as well. Converted in the CM and CDM position. The web app was still given daily gifts up until I think the end of December, and I got two mini half silver packs, I think they're called, which is basically 4 items, and they were pretty bad. I got a player called Rogers I put up for a buy now and a start price. It's one of those, you know, if they sell, they sell. If they don't, I'll discard them and get the couple hundred coins that they do give. Obraniak sold, the one that was at Cam, for 20,000 coins. Again, a really tidy player. His stats look incredible. I've not used him in this game, but I bet you he would be pretty good for a Liga 1 team or Liga 1 team. Shinji Kagawa sold for 6,500 coins. Got resold for 6,500. I bought him for, I sold him even for 9.2. So the guy that's resold him on made a massive loss on him. Marco Fabian sold for 5.3k, and his price is steadily going. And as I said before, you know, he was worth way over 6-7k. Now it's like 5.9, 5.5, and now it's even getting near under 5. Wijnaldum sold for 7.8k, and he's a really tidy player to trade with. Not someone who is the most obvious player to look for, but he does command a decent price and quite easy to buy. Frank Lampard also sold, but obviously he's changed formation or something. Sold for 11,000 coins in a 4-5-1 formation. Dries Mertens sold for 22,750. I do believe that was the one we converted to a left wing in a 4-3-2-1 formation. Not too bad for him. Stefan Sessegnon sold for around 8,900. Obviously someone's changed formation or something like that. Another Wijnaldum sold for 8.4. This one's the striker version, and again, he looks a really tidy player for that player. He's played one game, scored 2 goals. He's got all the attributes that would make him good at striker, and that's definitely something you got to look at if you're going to do converted players. Marco Marine sold for 7.7k in a 4-1-2-1-2 formation. Another Marco Marine for 7,500 coins in a 4-2-2-2 formation. This one is at CDM, and he's a really good player to trade with, as I've said with others, but I've bought a lot of him, and you probably have seen it. He is a lot it was a lot easier to buy. Andres Guardado for 29,750, left wing in a 4-3-3 formation. I think we picked him up for 20k, again showing how good informs are to trade with if you know, constantly traded with them. Marco Fabian sold for 5.4k in the Cam in a 4-4-1-1 formation. As I said before, his prices have really been bombing recently, so definitely a player you just gotta get away from. I'm trying to sell the rest. Another Mertens sold for 24,750. As I said, I checked him a couple of times. You know, once you're in a profit on one player, you keep going back for him. But Boussoufa there has sold for 10,750. I do believe in a CDM position in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Kaisuke Honda, I think this is a CM or CDM in a 4-2-3-1, sold for 8.8k. Which is a decent profit on him. Again, he's very adaptable, can play any position, and he'd be pretty good at it. Dries Mertens, another Dries Mertens, sold, and again, I think someone put a 4-3-2-1 card on him, but he does sell for 25,500. Again, you make a couple coins on every inform that we get, and it just shows you how good informs really are to trade with. Marco Marine in a 4-1-2-1-2 for 7.4k. Another Boussoufa, this time sold it for 6.9, which I think is a striker version, in a really poor formation as well, and that does really affect the prices. Some people say, do you put them at lowest price bin for some of these converted players? And for most of them, like the Marines, Boussoufas, players that are less popular, I usually do, but some people that can command a little bit more, like an Oscar, for example, a 4-3-1-2 Oscar sold for 9.5, and he can command a real good price in like a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3. Definitely something you would actually do it for the formation, not just the lowest buy now for him. Kaisuke Honda at centre mid in a bad formation, sold for 10,000 coins. And last but not least, Marek Hamsic sold for 6,000 coins. converted to striker. Even the non-popular players, you know, not many people would want Hamsik as striker. He still sells for a really good price. Definitely something you should really check out. We go and relist this Muller that didn't sell, and we get another daily gift for another day. I really didn't do too much trading around these days, and got half a bronze pack, and it was terrible. Muller finally sold. This was the striker version, which I've said in a previous episode, it's really tough to sell because of the other striker that they have in Gomez. It's very tough to see Muller, both being German, both being roughly the same rating, I do believe. So getting him sold can take a couple of tries, and definitely not someone I would recommend trading with. Is definitely Muller at the striker position. But as I said, he did sell for 6.4, and that will still net you a good profit if you can get it for 3-4. This random bronze player sold for 200 that we got in that half a bronze pack, so it's not all bad. We made 200 coins off him. We buy a Wijnaldum for 4.6, going to put him up at 6.4 in the CDM. Fred for 10 at 250, I'm going to put him up for 14,000. Not the most fashionable in form, but again, making a couple K on him. We also put this Zarate up, a Lampard for 8.6, I do believe, Van der Vaart for around 6.8, we got him for 1.8, a Basu for 5.1, we're going to put him up for around 6.5k, another Mertens for 18,250, going to hopefully get around 22,750 for him. Again, a tidy profit for him. 4.7 for Dembele, just put him shy of 6k. A Ronaldinho for 5, gonna hopefully get 11k. What great profit that is. An Eric Lamela for 18,000 coins, going to get around 27,750 for him. Adel Trapp for 2,200, gonna put him at 9.3. Another Dembele 6.8, we're gonna put him up at 9.9 because of the CDM position. And we pick up a couple players that we've won on auctions as well. This Marine for 3.1, going to put him at 8.4. A Sessignon that we're going to sell, we bought for 6.6, going to put him up at 9.9. A Jonas Abelhanda, converted to centre mid, 5.1, going to sell him for 9.2k. Another Zarate, this time I do believe at striker, 3.5, going to put him up just shy of 7,000 coins. Another Trap, this time in a really good formation, 4-1-2-1-2, 6k, going to put him up for 9,000 coins, and probably could have got a little bit more out of him considering the formation. Kagawa 4-1-2-1-2, 3.1, hopefully going to get around 9,000 coins for him. Another Shinji Kagawa, this time at the CDM position in a 4-2-2, and put him up for around 10-ish k, I do believe. A Muller CDM 7.1, going to put him up at 9.9. Another Podolski that we traded a couple times. This time it was at his native cam position. I was thinking about converting him down, but I decided not to. This Ericsson 15,750, going to put him up for 22k. Another Honda, again a really tidy player, 6.6, putting him up for 9-ish k, I do believe, 9,500 coins. Another Marek Hamsik, again at striker, not the most fashionable position, 3.5, going to put him up at 6.7, but he does sell for around the 6-7k mark, and definitely a player I'd recommend if you can get him cheap. Basu for 7.1, hopefully going to get 9.8. Adel Tarapt, I do believe, at centre mid in a 4-4-1-1, 7k, hopefully going to get 11. And I've got a couple of informs there that I'm not going to touch just yet. I'm going to sell them at a later time because I was picking them up around the team of the week that was out. 1,000 for that Cassano, going to hopefully get over 2. And I think the same is with this Cassano, put him up for around 2k as well, just because I think a little bit less for that one, just because of the formation was a little bit weaker. And these are Cassanos that were converted to cam. This one's at striker, 4,000 coins for him. Hopefully going to get 6.8 out of this Cassano. Not the quickest of players, but still, even at converted striker, he does sell. Also bidding on a couple of players, as you can see. I do get a lot of my players through bids, as most of these players here are all through bids. Quite a few of my players are bins as well, but you've got to search both and just hopefully get lucky. If you search the players, you'll find the deals. This Eric Lamela sold for 27,750, I do believe, in a 4-3-3 at right wing, and I think we picked him up for around 18 plus k, so that's a really good price. And I remember buying that guy. I binned him. I was searching to pick one up. I was thinking about I might use him in a a squad builder or something. I saw one on my main account. I switched over to the trading account and quickly binned it before anyone else saw. Podolski, that we put a contract on so everyone can see is a cam. 6,500, going to put him up at 8.8k. So that is the end of the episode. It's probably a lot jam-packed for around 10 minutes. We much appreciate everyone if they have could subscribe to my channel if they haven't already. Check out my previous videos. Links in the description to my Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. And hopefully I will see you in the next episode. We much appreciate it. Before you go, do give it a like, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.